Hey guys, real quick, only 40% of our viewers are actually subscribed, so let's change that right now. Hit that subscribe button right below. Week 9, it all starts tonight, Thursday night. Baltimore Ravens at the Miami Dolphins. Ravens favored by 7.5. Just a couple 2-win teams here on Thursday night football. 2-5 Ravens and the 2-6 Dolphins coming off their best game of the season, a road win against the Falcons.
Yeah. Theoretically, we're getting Lamar Jackson back. Again, you got this weird dynamic of the hamstring wasn't good enough to go on Sunday, but is good enough to go 4 days later on Thursday. I'm not going to pretend to understand how that really works, but okay. With no Lamar Jackson last week, I think a lot of people were concerned that game would not be won and they would be in an even deeper hole when they started this theoretical comeback. With Lamar Jackson back now, though, with that win under their belts, I mean, this is an opportunity to get that ball rolling and really kick on towards trying to take that division back. The big thing for them, I think, was less Snoop Huntley and the offense doing what they did last week. It was the defense showing up for the first time. So, Baltimore's run game, it should be able to dominate Miami. Their defense should be able to do a better job against this Miami offense than last week. So I kind of feel like this should be a comfortable Ravens win.
And this is a Ravens stretch. I know we've talked a ton about the betting odds and how the NFL's not writing them off. And I think there's two things true about the Ravens. They have underachieved and disappointed, certainly relative to expectations, and certainly on the defensive side of the ball overall. They've been better on defense the last 2 weeks, as you mentioned. But if we take a high-level view, and we did highlight this before the season for multiple teams, it hit the Ravens worse than others. Remember, the Chiefs did, by the way, start 0-2 and 2-3 because they had a tough first 5 or 6 weeks of the schedule. The Ravens had a rough start to the season. And, when you play the Bills in week 1, the Lions in week 3, the Chiefs in week 4, and then the Texans and Rams, like those were their games, and they had to play 2 full games without Lamar Jackson. You have a chance to start with a bad record. Their next stretch is now Dolphins, 2 wins. Vikings have 3 wins. Browns, 2 wins. Jets, 1 win. Bengals, 3 wins. Steelers. Like the next time they play a team with a winning record, as of right now, is December.
Right.
So they've got a stretch right now. Like when they go play Pittsburgh, when they're playing Pittsburgh at home on December 7th, could be tied for the division lead. They could be in the lead. They could still be terrible. I mean, they could still go. They could go 3-2 over the next few weeks. That's the key with the Ravens. If you're looking at the Ravens season, there's no slip-ups allowed right now.
Well, this is where Cincinnati was last week, where it's like, okay, you did the hard thing.
Last year, yeah.
No, last week.
Oh, last week. I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry.
And now you got to just take care of business, right? The Bengals did the hard thing, which was upset Pittsburgh and cost Pony his nipples. And then all you got to do is go beat the Jets, right?
Right.
And they fumbled the ball, metaphorically, not literally, and fumbled the game away and lost that one, right? This is Baltimore's chance. You did the hard thing, which is you beat the Bears with Snoop Huntley at quarterback instead of Lamar Jackson. Now you just got to take care of business against the Dolphins with Lamar back in the lineup and the defense having already shown it's at least capable of better play than it had earlier in the season. Just go do that.
You're absolutely right. It is very much like that, and I don't want to make it seem like, because last week we saw the Bengals did slip up.
Yeah, I like the way that you're now just anticipating my brain imploding on just as a
No, I want to make sure that I don't, that I give you credit properly. Proper credit. I cannot wait until you preview the Broncos during the Colts-Steelers game. Yeah. It's going to be awesome. And then as far as the actual football game here, Ravens-Dolphins, I'm a little gun-shy coming off of last week. I'm like, all right, on the on-paper matchup, you're sitting there on a Thursday morning previewing Falcons-Dolphins, and you're like, well, the Falcons run the ball great, and the Dolphins have one of the worst run defenses I've seen. Yeah. Clear mismatch. The Falcons are going to run all over them, and then the Dolphins step up, stop the run, and did a great job. On paper, this Ravens offense obviously should be able to run the ball. My one question with Lamar coming off the hamstring, though, is how much are they going to run him? How protective are they going to be of him? That a big part of their run game is, obviously, Lamar Jackson on keepers, Lamar Jackson as a threat. Does he become just a threat on Thursday Night Football, or are you going to see 8 to 10 design carries as they usually break out on a weekly basis?
The difference, or one difference, I think, from a week ago against Atlanta is if Miami wants to stop the Baltimore run game with numbers and bodies, right? If they want to just overcommit to the run and say, we're just going to take that away and force you to something else, Lamar Jackson should be able to just ping the ball over the top for big plays all day long, right? Like he's got that in his bag. The Ravens receivers are good enough to take advantage of that as well. And Miami has a pretty awful looking secondary. Yeah. So if that's the strategy, like we're just going to put 8 guys in the box at all times, we're going to win up front and dominate and take away this run game, I would expect the Baltimore pass game to pretty much cook in a way that I don't know that Kirk Cousins is really capable of anymore, certainly not without Drake London in the lineup. If they want to win that way, like they need the defensive linemen to just dominate one-on-one. They need them to actually win individually and not have to overcommit to the run game. So that, I get it. Like I expected Atlanta to be able to run the ball at will last week, and they couldn't. But I don't know that Miami can do the same job against Baltimore that they could against Atlanta.
Yeah, it's not as straightforward of a run game as Atlanta. Atlanta's is fairly straightforward, and then there's no QB run threat at all. And, because it's pistol or under center and it's wide zone. There's a QB run threat here. So even if you load the box, Lamar Jackson, if they're going to give him some keepers, Lamar Jackson does change the math there.
I was telling you the Sumer Sports sends out a kind of weekly, game preview email packet thing with Sean Side and Tej Seth. And they sort of show you each side of the ball and broken down by 3 or 4 different ways: personnel, offensive identity, passing splits, blitz pressure, pass depth, blah, blah, blah. So on either side of the ball, and they color code it, right? Dark green for extreme good, or the sort of one end of the spectrum, and then dark red for the other end of the spectrum. And this game on both sides of the ball is basically almost entirely dark red or dark green. You're talking about the extremes of either end of the spectrum in almost everything. Like Miami run the most 21 personnel of anybody in the NFL. They run the most motion on offense of anybody in the NFL. But they're also like dead last in various categories. Like it's such a weird game where both of these teams are wild extremes, both in terms of good and bad, like Miami's run defense being a catastrophe, et cetera, most of the time, but also in terms of just extreme uniqueness, like how unusual each offense or defense is. Yeah,
no, I buy that. I mean, Ravens are always, if you're ranking schemes and styles, the Ravens are always in their own quadrant, and the McDaniel-Shanahan scheme also has their own uniqueness to it, of course. One last thing on Baltimore in particular, Lamar Jackson coming back, even before the injury. So it's not just what I said earlier. The Ravens ran into some good teams. Stylistically, their team was different, right? I kept calling their pass game boom or bust earlier in the year. You talked about, hey, if they crowd the box, he'll throw the ball down the field. Lamar had been throwing the ball down the field a lot early on, average depth to target close to 10, but also getting sacked quite a bit. Lamar is still 14th most sacks in the NFL for Lamar Jackson in half the games. So he's been sacked 15 times, one less time than Tua tonight.
Half of which had to come in those last 2 games. How many times did he take it down?
Yeah, Lions. He's only played 3.5 games.
Yeah.
So he's played in 4 games, but only played 3.5 games. We're sitting here in week 9. So the sack rate was through the roof.
Yeah.
For Lamar Jackson.
He played pretty badly in those last 2 games, was under pressure in both of them, was attacked in a different way in each one. Like the Lions had a different game plan. And you're right, it's definitely a big thing. We're kind of assuming that because we've seen Lamar Jackson, 2-time MVP, playing at that kind of level, that, he's going to come back, click, it's Lamar Jackson still. But he needed to be reset. I mean, he was not seeing it well in those last 2 games. Whether or not it was all down to the fact that he was feeling a hamstring and he just wasn't confident in his own body, and sometimes that just distracts you, or, it's in your own head and you're not able to play the way you normally are, or whether in addition to that, he also wasn't seeing the field well and was just sort of in a weird funk. Either way, he needed some kind of hard reset. And I think we've just been assuming that a couple of weeks shut down with a hamstring injury will do that, but it needs to. I mean, if he comes back playing the way he was, they're still in trouble. Like, he's still talented. He's still capable of making plays, but he was not in a good place as a quarterback at the time he was shut down.
And then my last thing on Miami, they played really well last week. I know it's sometimes nothing's felt good about Miami all season, but it's still the NFL. It's still competitive. Right? Last time we saw them on Thursday Night Football, by the way, they're playing 2 Thursday Night Football games in the first 9 weeks of the season. Kind of a weird scheduling quirk here. They played, was it week 3? They played Buffalo. Is that right? That was Thursday night this year, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, remember they were pretty competitive with Buffalo until there was a late turnover, and I think Bills ended up winning by 2 scores. Late doesn't mean this can't be competitive. If Miami does also feel like any given week, those edge rushers could step up and make some big plays, and like they're underachieving, but not completely devoid of talent on Miami. So it could still be a good competitive game here. I just don't like the matchups for the Dolphins if the Ravens play to their capabilities here. So Thursday night, it's in Miami. Over under 50.5, by the way, from FanDuel. Where are you going to go with this one?
I'm going with the Ravens to win and cover.
I am too. I think we agree on a bunch.
We agree on all the early games that we're going to talk about. I was very, very worried for a while because I think we went 5 straight with the same picks, but then we deviated a reasonable amount towards the end.
Harry and I will also both take Baltimore here, so we're all in agreement here on the Thursday night game.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video.
Check the Mic is live Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss a video.
You heard the man. Subscribe.